now fourth day without electricity, without water, without communication. Patients are dying every day at higher rates because of no oxygen, no electricity, no water, you know. I think over the last night we have 10 patients died, and every day we will have more and more patients are dying. With the dirt in the hospital, the dead bodies around, you know. The smell is very bad, you know. You cannot imagine how bad the situation here.
Doctors inside Gaza's largest hospital are desperate for help. They say bodies are piling up and they can't perform the most basic functions. Hi, I'm Stephen Romo in for Gadi Schwartz this evening. And today, Israeli forces say they reached the gates of Al-Shifa Hospital, where they allege that Hamas runs an underground command center. And while many people who had been sheltering in and around the hospital were able to leave over the weekend as Israeli troops approached, those patients, they are still there. The World Health Organization says Al-Shifa is not even functioning as a hospital anymore. In fact, they're calling it, quote, nearly a cemetery. Health officials say a number of newborns have died and dozens more are at risk right now. Doctors say they are trying to keep premature babies warm after taking them off incubators since they are useless without electricity. And that's also forcing them to perform medical procedures using the flashlights on their phones. President Joe Biden is now saying hospitals on the Gaza Strip must be protected. But many of them have been struggling for weeks to maintain normal operations. For now, health officials at Al-Shifa Hospital say corpses are decomposing without electricity there to run the morgue. Meanwhile, the doctors say they don't want to remove the bodies from the building because they're afraid they'll be shot by Israeli forces. Let's bring in NBC's Josh Letterman from Tel Aviv now. Josh, just an extremely dire situation in Gaza tonight. What do we know about the conditions at Al-Shifa Hospital and the other hospitals in the area?
Well, Stephen, it has been days now that Israeli troops have encircled Al-Shifa Hospital. We heard from a doctor earlier today who spoke to NBC News saying that 3 newborn babies there died over the weekend. There has been an urgent need for electricity to power incubator for those newborns, as Israel says it is now trying to actually offer assistance to that hospital, something that the Hamas-run Palestinian Health Ministry has been disputing. But it echoes the disastrous situation at so many of these hospitals. And we also heard from the Israeli military tonight showing video of one of their spokesmen who was at Rantisi Hospital, a children's hospital, saying that and showing what they say is evidence that the basement of that hospital was being used by Hamas to store weapons, fighters, and even to hold some of those hostages. And so you can see, Stephen, how Israel is trying to back up its assertion that it has to have attacks nearby these hospitals because they say Hamas is using them as part of their operation.
Some disturbing images coming out of there for the past several days now, Josh. Meanwhile, I wanted to ask you, the Israeli defense minister saying today that Hamas has lost control of Gaza, all while these calls for a ceasefire continue to grow. What did he mean by that?
Well, Israel says that it has evidence now that as they are attacking northern Gaza, some of these Hamas terrorists are actually evacuating to the south along with the civilians, and that those who are left in Gaza, in northern Gaza, are now looting what had been former Hamas bases. And as you mentioned, those calls for a ceasefire are growing from countries like France, pretty much the entire Arab world now, as well as the United Nations. The White House not going as far as to call us for a ceasefire, but they are saying, according to President Biden, they do want to see those hospitals protected.
And Josh, do we know the latest on the hostages and negotiations to try to get them out?
Yeah, there have been a lot of work taking place in the last couple of days to try to get some type of a hostage deal. We heard Prime Minister Netanyahu tell Kristen Welker on Meet the Press that a deal is possible. A U.S. official has described a deal in which there would be a trade potentially for Palestinian prisoners in Israel in exchange for women and children who are being held hostage in Gaza. But so far, there have been a lot of false starts. None of these have yet come to fruition. And I want you to hear from Omri Algog, who is the brother of a woman named Hen, who was abducted in Gaza along with 3 of her children. And he told me about what information they have about their relatives. Take a listen.
We don't know if they eat, what they wear, if they are in good condition, nothing.
Are you satisfied with the Israeli government's efforts to bring them home?
It's a good question. There's no one to trust.
Now, the U.S. is still working through the Egyptian and Qatari governments because, of course, they don't have a direct relationship with Hamas. These are very precarious hostage negotiations. And right now, at least according to the Israelis, they still do not have a lot of hope that this is going to be successful anytime in the near term. Stephen?
Must be so heartbreaking and scary for those hostage family members. Josh Letterman, thanks so much. To violence elsewhere in the Middle East now. For the third time in less than a month, American forces hit military targets in Syria used by Iranian militants. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights says 8 militia members were killed, but NBC News has not independently verified that report. The Pentagon says more than 40 attacks have been launched on U.S. military positions in the two countries since mid-October, and nearly 60 American service members have been hurt, with about half of them suffering traumatic brain injuries. One U.S. contractor reportedly died of a heart attack after sheltering in place during a drone attack. NBC News military analyst and retired Lieutenant General Steph Twitty joins me now for more on this. So how significant is this recent escalation in attacks against U.S. forces in Iraq and Syria?
Well, it's very significant. As you stated, somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 attacks have occurred since October 7th. And what the Iranian proxies are attempting to do is to provoke the U.S. into a wider war in the region. And so this is what this is all about. And I think the administration has done a great job in ensuring that we're not pulled into this fight. It's been about proportionality with retaliatory strikes. And I think this is the way to go about it, to ensure that we protect U.S. troops and our interests in the region.
And of course, that is the big concern, being pulled into a wider conflict. Are you concerned at all about that? And if that does happen, what do you think it would look like?
Yeah, I am concerned about it, but we have a good Secretary of Defense who understands this region extremely well and was a general and commanded in this region. And I think he has really taken a hard look on how we use our troops that are stationed in the Med to deter Iran, number one, but to also protect our forces. And so if we happen to be pulled in, it would look like multiple attacks from proxy forces. And I think Iran would get involved at some point in time. But I think we continue to do what we're doing now, proportionality, to ensure that we're not pulled into this war.
The proxy war, a big fear there. And of course, we hear about retaliatory strikes, but is there any room here for diplomacy? Is the United States even able to negotiate or speak to these groups?
Well, you can't apply diplomacy to terrorists. And so Iran is the culprit here. And that's the folks that we should be applying pressure on. Of course, we do not have diplomatic relations with Iran, so that's problematic. But these terrorists will be terrorists, and they will continue to strike U.S. forces and our interests in the region. And so this is something we'll just have to stay after, continue to attack back to ensure that we protect the forces that are on the ground there.
Our attention, of course, at many different places right now, but a dicey situation, definitely something that we're going to keep track of. Lieutenant General Steph Twitty, thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, to some breaking news out of Los Angeles now. Just moments ago, Governor Gavin Newsom said that arson is likely to blame for that massive fire that engulfed a big chunk of the 10 freeway over the weekend.
There was malice intent, that this fire occurred within the fence line of the facility you see behind me, that it was arson, and that it was done and set intentionally. That determination of who is responsible is an investigation that is ongoing.
City officials say a 1-mile stretch of the freeway will be closed indefinitely as they work around the clock to try to repair it. I-10 is a crucial artery in the city. Governor Newsom says more than 300,000 cars take that route each and every day. Joining us now from L.A. is NBC's Liz Kreutz. Liz, I got to admit, I was not expecting arson to be potentially involved here. What do we know about what happened?
Hey, Stephen. Yeah, Governor Newsom came out and said that right now they do believe this was intentionally set, but they haven't given any more details on why, how, who, anything like that. The mayor of LA has really brushed off this idea that perhaps it started at a homeless encampment and that it was an unhoused person that started the fire, but that hasn't been ruled out. So all of that is still under investigation. Governor Newsom also said right now the investigation is still underway into how structurally safe this portion of the highway is right now. They're trying to figure out whether or not they actually have to fully demolish this portion of the highway and then rebuild it entirely, or if they can simply do repairs. He said that they've taken samples of the concrete there and that some preliminary results that have come back are promising that they might not need to do a full demolition, but they're waiting for all the results and they plan to make a determination hopefully by tomorrow morning on that front. So that really is the big question right now is whether they're going to actually have to tear it down, Stephen.
Wow. And as we heard from the governor, 300,000 cars take that route every day. So what are drivers expected to do? Even if you've never driven in LA, pretty much everyone knows how bad the traffic is. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, notoriously bad, right? So this is having a big impact on people. You mentioned it. Hundreds of thousands of people drive on this freeway every day. For perspective, that's more than double the amount that drive every day on I-95 in Philadelphia, which was the freeway that collapsed earlier this year on the East Coast. So it impacts a lot of people, and it is having a ripple effect into other freeways as people take detours. Right now, the city officials are telling people to work from home if they can, or to take public transportation. And as you mentioned, traffic's already bad here, but it gets way worse during Thanksgiving as people drive to see family and friends. And so that's another concern if it stays closed through next week, that could add even insult to injury as people start hitting the road for Thanksgiving, Stephen.
Well, I had not even thought yet about how it would affect holiday travel. Liz, I am struck by the term indefinitely. They're saying the closure would last indefinitely. Is there any clue whatsoever for how long this could take?
Yeah, I mean, that's what the city is saying. The mayor's saying this is not something that's just going to be a couple of days. But I think it goes back to what I was saying earlier from the governor about the determination on whether or not they have to rebuild it entirely or repair it. That is going to be the defining reason for, how long it takes. So it could be really weeks. It could be days. We don't really know. And that's something we're hopefully going to find out more about tomorrow, Stephen.
All right. We will be paying attention. Liz, thank you so much. Well, a lot of eyes will be on San Francisco this week because that's where President Biden will be meeting with China's President Xi Jinping on Wednesday. This will be the first time since 2017 that Xi will visit the U.S. and just 9 months after that Chinese spy balloon controversy. The visit is part of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit, or APEC. Nearly 24 other Asian-Pacific leaders will also be taking part. So how is San Francisco preparing for a summit of this scale? NBC's Jake Ward has that story.
San Francisco is already a target of America's conservative media.
San Francisco has hit rock bottom, and they need an intervention.
Now, the arrival of the 21 APEC nations and the backdrop of the high-stakes meeting between two of the world's most powerful men means it is under the spotlight globally. It'll get scrutiny from countries like China, which already judges the place pretty harshly.
A city where millions of immigrants once came to chase the American dream is now a place where many are trying to flee from.
Chinese tourists have mocked the city's rough reputation on social media, and diplomats used past episodes like 2020's Black Lives Matter protests to depict democracy as a failed experiment.
Racial discrimination against minorities is chronic sickness in American society.
After the pandemic and remote work emptied San Francisco's downtown, local businesses are eager for this week of Asian-Pacific power players.
APEC is going to be wonderful for the city.
Gil Payumo is ready.
It comes in a perfect moment. We need this, drastically.
But is the city? San Francisco has been repaving streets and power washing train stations to prepare for 30,000 visitors from 21 nations.
The delegates, the press, the CEOs, it's going to be pretty amazing.
San Francisco's mayor says it's a chance to turn the city's image around.
We expect lasting impacts on our city, whether it's the economy, tourism, conventions, and also just really the narrative about San Francisco.
Are there any steps that you've tried to take as mayor ahead of APEC to keep a diplomatic core member from, wandering into the wrong part of the city.
We are not trying to hide what the problems are of San Francisco, and we hope that people get a chance to experience, of course, great parts of San Francisco, but also know that we have our challenges and they are not as bad as what people are trying to portray them as.
It is a beautiful city, full of picturesque scenes, but a visitor doesn't have to walk far to encounter some misfortune. The summit cordoned off several blocks of downtown, and people living on the streets in that area have been moved by city crews in recent days. The city will be patrolled by state, federal, and city officers all week. But how San Francisco is portrayed abroad is not up to the mayor.
People have their own plans, their own agendas for whatever they decide they want to use San Francisco for. And what I like to do is make sure that people have at least the opportunity to experience it for themselves.
With so many visitors in town and world leaders dueling over trade and diplomacy, APEC's summit here could fuel spin about the condition of the West, sure. But for at least some of the delegates, they'll go home with memories of a meal, a sunset, a view from the hilltops.
It was nice to see some of those picturesque shots of San Francisco for a change. Jake Ward, thanks for that report. Well, don't go anywhere. A lot more to come. We're just getting started. Up next, Paul Pelosi took the stand against the man accused of attacking him in his home in the middle of the night. We'll dig into what happened in court today. Plus, a Secret Service agent protecting President Biden's granddaughter opened fire outside her home in D.C., and an entire town in Iceland was just evacuated because of a possible volcanic eruption. That's all just ahead, so stay tuned.
The magma is so close to the surface that it could come up in a matter of potentially minutes. So it could happen in the next hours. It could happen in the next few days.
Welcome back. Here are some other headlines we're watching tonight. Donald Trump's older sister, Marianne Trump, has died. She was a retired federal judge in Philadelphia. Marianne was 86 years old. Donald Trump Jr. took the stand once again today in the civil fraud trial against the Trump family and their organization. During the 3.5-hour testimony, he praised his father, calling him a visionary. The Trump family has denied any wrongdoing. And a South Carolina Senator Tim Scott dropped out of the 2024 Republican presidential race last night. The timing came as a surprise to many, including his own campaign staff, who learned the news with the rest of the public. After last week's Republican debate, polls put Scott in 4th place among the other GOP candidates. The Supreme Court just adopted a code of conduct outlining things like when a justice should recuse themselves and what types of outside activities they can participate in. This comes after backlash over reported trips Justice Clarence Thomas took that were funded by a Republican billionaire. And Toys R Us making a comeback just in time for the holidays. The toy retailer announced today that it's set to open a new flagship store at Minnesota's Mall of America. That's set to happen this Friday. It comes after the company went bankrupt back in 2017 and started closing those locations. It'll now be the second standalone store for that brand. Paul Pelosi took the witness stand today in a federal trial against David DePape, the man accused of attacking him with a hammer inside his San Francisco home. The 83-year-old said he was woken up by DePape, who was holding that hammer and ties, asking, "Where's Nancy?" DePape told Pelosi that the former House Speaker was the, quote, leader of the pack and that he was, quote, going to take her out. Also on the stand today was an FBI agent who talked about the evidence collected from the crime scene, including a hard drive with pictures of the Pelosi's home and a list of potential other targets, including actor Tom Hanks, California Governor Gavin Newsom, and former Vice President Mike Pence. The prosecution also played an apparent apology by the suspect that he made during a recorded interview with a local news reporter. NBC News correspondent Steve Patterson joins me now from San Francisco with the latest on this. So, Steve, let's start with Pelosi's testimony. What stood out to you?
You know, this was character testimony in its truest sense. We didn't really get what I would call fireworks or an explosive admission or anything that constituted a bombshell. And that was by design from the defense, because there was no cross testimony, because their defense doesn't rely on the fact that an attack took place. They are saying that, in fact, an attack did take place. So what we're left with, again, was sort of filling in the blanks of some of the character work that happened in that house, the fear, of being an 82-year-old man. You're woken up in the middle of the night by a home invader and attacker, and all of a sudden you have to start making all of these split-second decisions. The brutality of the attack itself, how he said he woke up in a pool of his own blood and what that was like, and then the recovery after that. But sort of going back to sort of the intelligence of making those decisions, I think that's what we heard the most about, the impression of just second by second not being aloof, not sort of giving up, the decisions that he's making moment to moment to get to the bathroom, to make that 911 call. We heard a little bit more about that, how he was able to do that, how he stuck on the phone using coded messages sort of with the dispatcher, so he's not necessarily upsetting the attacker who's in his house. Then after that, being forced to hang up the phone, sort of guiding that attacker down the stairs, consoling him when he thinks his big plan is over, and leading the person sort of next to the door, so if police do come, he's able to have sort of an egress out of the house. All of these are decisions that he's making, and we sort of got that sense with him on the stand. Again, no cross-examination. This lasted all of 30 minutes or so. It was very, very brief, but more about the horror of the attack itself, the struggle, the physical altercation. He's trying to wrestle the hammer from DePape, the alleged attacker's hand. He struck on the head, and then we didn't know this before, but he wakes up remembering being in a pool of his own blood before he's taken to the hospital, and then all of the recovery efforts that have taken place since then, the weeks and weeks out of the hospital, the months that have followed, the consistent pain and the headaches that he's experienced, all of that was in court today. It was at times hard to hear, but I think important character work again from the prosecution trying to pin down DePape and what happened. Stephen?
Someone standing over you like that, literally the stuff of nightmares, Steve. So we also heard from the FBI agent the physical evidence and that list of potential other targets. Were they trying to talk about intent there?
Yeah, I mean, so I think it was both a physical footprint and a digital footprint, of course, and investigators easily able to track all of this down, because I think the key thing that we learned, we've known before, but we really learned today, and this really was what the entirety of today was about, was that this was a guy sort of not shy about what he was doing. He was not either good at or cared about hiding the trail that he was leaving, both in the purchase of these items, in which multiple investigators with the FBI, Capitol Police, local police have testified to the items that were found in the multiple backpacks that were left on scene, and then able to trace each item to a digital search history through Amazon, through locators that all sort of led back to DePape. And then sort of with his intent and what he was planning, this was a guy with a hit list that included Tom Hanks and Adam Schiff and Gavin Newsom. All of the search history is there, and they found it really easily, able to track down the names, the addresses, the pictures that you mentioned on the hard drive. All of that was really there in plain sight, and that's what investigators were testifying to, almost line by line, item by item, being able to point it back to DePape. There was even a BART investigator who was there today walking us through, showing us sort of camera footage of DePape going step by step on each train, making his way closer to the house. It was really stark to show how much evidence they have against DePape, which, again, I think is part of the reason why the defense is not saying that this didn't happen. They are arguing sort of the spirit of why this happened, that DePape was more caught up in these conspiracy theories and not necessarily trying to prevent a public official from doing her job, as the federal charges imply. Stephen?
And along with that evidence, the video allegedly showing him entering the Pelosi's home. A lot of evidence stacked up there. Steve Patterson, thanks for breaking that down for us.
You got it.
To D.C. now, where there was a scare involving President Biden's granddaughter, Naomi. She is unharmed, thankfully, but a Secret Service agent assigned to protect her did open fire outside her home. It happened when agents reportedly spotted a group breaking the window of an unoccupied government vehicle. NBC's Kelly O'Donnell has the latest.
A troubling spike in crime in the nation's capital, edged closer to the president's own family. The high stakes evident.
Dispatcher, just be advised.
From the police radio.
And it's Secret Service involved.
First granddaughter, 29-year-old attorney Naomi Biden, daughter of Hunter, frequently seen at White House events.
Relax right now.
A bride here on the South Lawn 1 year ago. Last night, Biden was at home in the leafy and affluent Georgetown section of Washington, when officials say just before midnight, Secret Service agents encountered possibly 3 individuals breaking a window on a parked and unoccupied government vehicle. The incident led to a single gunshot. A federal agent discharged a service weapon, and it is believed no one was struck. The suspects fled in a red sedan. Authorities say there was no threat to Naomi Biden.
And any concern about your granddaughter's safety, sir?
Today, the White House did address the broader danger.
We are definitely concerned about what we're seeing, and not just here, across the country, obviously.
Washington, D.C.'s own data show a staggering surge. Motor vehicle theft up 98% over last year. Robberies up 68%, and murder up 32%. Today, Mayor Muriel Bowser declined to comment on the First Family incident.
I would go to Secret Service if you have any questions.
Officials say the federal agent is on routine leave, pending an investigation on the use of his weapon, while the search goes on for 2 or possibly 3 suspects who tried to break into that government vehicle. Stephen?
NBC's Kelly O'Donnell, thank you. Well, coming up tonight, a controversial migrant shelter opened up to families over the weekend in New York, but many people were unwilling to stay there because of the conditions. We'll have those details coming up. But first, you got to take a look at this. Just 4 months old, this little albino puma cub made her debut at a zoo in Nicaragua. Albinism causes the body to produce little to no melanin, creating the cub's bright white coat. So adorable. It's pretty rare for pumas. A veterinarian at the zoo says this is one of only 4 known in the world with albinism. She is sensitive to sunlight, but zoo staff say other than that, the cub is in perfect health and very playful. Her name is Itzea, which is the Mayan word for gift from God. Can't beat that. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Here are some of the stories that we're following out west. It's day 9 of the Portland Public School teachers strike, meaning no classes for students again today after a failure to reach a contract over the weekend. In fact, students of Portland Public Schools haven't had a single school day this month. And with teacher planning days, Veterans Day, and of course the upcoming Thanksgiving break, they might not have school at all in November. A school district in Orange County, California, was closed again today to take a look at the environmental impact of a massive fire last week. A World War II hangar had burned for several days, forcing schools to close last Thursday and Friday when air quality experts detected asbestos at the site of the fire. The district says contingency plans are being put in place if campuses are again closed tomorrow. And a one-day strike is scheduled to happen at Cal State University campuses tomorrow. The union organizing the strike is made up of skilled trade workers, including plumbers, carpenters, and locksmiths. They say they're willing to do whatever it takes to bring their salaries in line with other state workers. That strike is expected to affect 22 Cal State campuses. Well, let me know if this sounds familiar. The government is set to run out of funding in just a few days, meaning once again, we could be on the cusp of another government shutdown. This time, though, just in time for the holidays. NBC's Ryan Nobles gets us up to speed with the latest.
Yeah, Stephen, what we see here is that Congress is running out of time to come up with a budget deal. There are only 4 days before the government could potentially shut down. And so right now what we're seeing is Mike Johnson, the newly installed Speaker of the House, has proposed what he's called a 2-tiered short-term spending plan. The idea here would be to allow all the sides more time to negotiate a long-term budget package. It would be something that would push these negotiations into the new year. Now, his proposal does not include any spending cuts. That's something that Democrats are in favor of, but it's something Republicans are a little concerned about. But on the other end of it, it also does not include funding for Ukraine or Israel. So that's something Democrats would like to see passed in the near future. Now, as it stands right now, several Republicans who are opposed to these short-term spending plans have already told the Speaker that they will be a no vote. So in order for him to pass this legislation, which could come up as soon as Tuesday, it will require Democrats to help him get it over the finish line. And right now, the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, he's held off on the Senate doing any additional business, waiting for this House bill to come over, a signal that if it makes it to the Senate, that Schumer and Senate Democrats will pass it and send it to President Biden in time to avoid that shutdown on Friday. Stephen?
A sequel nobody wanted. Ryan, thank you. Well, it's been 1 year since 4 University of Idaho students were stabbed to death in their off-campus home. The suspect, Brian Kohberger, was arrested about 6 weeks later, thousands of miles away at his parents' home in Pennsylvania. But right now, he's still behind bars waiting for a trial date to be set. NBC News national correspondent Miguel Almaguer has more.
The victims' families are still awaiting their chance at justice. Of course, a suspect is in custody, but a trial date hasn't even been set. This as a community mourns together today.
As suspected killer Brian Kohberger awaits trial in a somber commemoration for the families of Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Gonzalez, the 4 University of Idaho students stabbed to death 1 year ago.
4 students were killed yesterday in a suspected homicide.
Their murders rattling the small community of Moscow, Idaho. It took police 6 weeks to track down and arrest Kohberger, more than 2,500 miles away from the crime scene. The former criminology student was linked to the killings, investigators say, by DNA found on a knife sheath left on the bed where Gonzalez and Mogan were found dead. Now, 1 year after their daughter Kaylee's murder, Christy and Steve Gonzalez say they'll spend the day remembering their little girl.
It's been rough. It's been really rough. You just miss them, and the longer they're gone, the more you miss them, and the more you realize how badly you really have been robbed.
In the 12 months since Ethan Chapin's murder, his mother Stacy wrote a children's book and helped establish the Ethan Smile Foundation in honor of her son's memory.
I miss hugging Ethan. He was definitely a mama's boy. I'd give anything to go back and be able to have another hug from him.
While the judge has entered a not guilty plea on Kohberger's behalf, a start date for his trial has not yet been set. The 28-year-old's legal team has made multiple failed attempts to get the case thrown out. But those delays have brought more time for investigators who were back at the crime scene last month, collecting even more evidence.
It's more evidence, so then when we do go to trial, there'll just be more good days than there is those what-if days.
Now, the 4 families united by immense loss, grieving this mournful milestone.
Hard to believe it's been that long. Miguel Almaguer, thank you. Well, migrant shelters are once again in the spotlight in New York. Dozens of families were sent to a new tented shelter in Brooklyn over the weekend. But while critics admit solutions are complicated, they say this location is just not fit for children. Confusion and frustration at New York's newest emergency migrant shelter after a group of migrant families refused to stay in the makeshift tent city that's set up to house 500 families. The latest effort to alleviate the ongoing migrant crisis in New York City.
It's not a place where you put women and children.
Over the weekend, as one of the city buses dropped off families, NBC New York capturing the moment some turned around, refusing to stay. This family saying the Brooklyn shelter is just too far from their children's school miles away.
These individuals who decided to leave, people criticizing them for not wanting to stay there. What do you think about that?
Yeah, and I'm not surprised that people took one look at the setup and decided that it would not work for their family.
A spokesperson for Mayor Eric Adams saying in a statement, quote, "We have used every possible corner of New York City and are quite simply out of good options to shelter migrants." Going on to say that thousands more are arriving every week, adding to the more than 65,000 migrants in the city's care right now. And there are more than 200 emergency shelters in the city already. The mayor's office agrees more solutions are needed, especially for families. Floyd Bennett Field was supposed to alleviate some of those problems. Instead, some community leaders say it's creating more.
It is a flood zone. Everything has to be brought in. Heat has to be brought in. Bathrooms have to be brought in. The showers have to be brought in. Water for drinking has to be brought in.
A view from above shows the sprawling tent city set up on a remote runway. Inside those larger tents, small cubicles lined with green cots. Migrant advocates have raised concerns about the layout of this facility. The bathrooms are outside the living area.
As a parent myself, I couldn't imagine trying to parent even one child at that location. It's also just extremely isolated.
For those who have been in and seen that new shelter, some say it's just not fit for young children, raising issue about what they describe as a lack of trash receptacles, baby changing tables, and storage for residents, and pointing out families simply require more from a shelter.
There are plenty of populations, single adults or adult families that could be housed at Floyd Bennett Field. I'm simply suggesting that this is not a suitable location for families with children.
The mayor's office saying they're looking into case-by-case scenarios, in particular when it comes to families with small children. Well, as for those families who declined to stay at the shelter, officials said they would not take them to another facility, so they were on their own to find another place to stay. They even had to sign a waiver in order to leave. But the city says they are welcome back to that Floyd Bennett facility if they want to return. All right, now to a critical decision expected from the FCC later this week. It would affect millions of victims and survivors of domestic violence. The new guidelines up for vote would force phone companies to be more responsive to those cases. NBC's Noah Pransky has that story.
You know a cell phone as your daily planner or your gaming device or a social outlet. But to someone in an abusive relationship, it's a lifeline.
He got so mad and he started choking me, and my son woke up and he was crying, and that did not stop him from keep going.
Joanne, a domestic violence survivor, remembers that one night particularly well.
I eventually managed to, run out the house without shoes, and I run to the neighbor to ask for a phone so I can call the cops because he had took all the phones from me.
Joanne has a complicated relationship with phones. She said it was a way for her ex to monitor her. It was a tool of control for years.
A lot of people are depending financially from their abusers.
Until she finally separated from her family plan and got her own phone. If you've ever tried to change your cell phone number or your cell phone plan, you know how incredibly challenging it can be even without an abusive relationship. But add in domestic violence and it gets exponentially harder. That, though, is about to change. The Federal Communications Commission is set to vote Wednesday on landmark new guidelines that will force cell phone providers to be more responsive to victims of domestic violence. Part of the Safe Connections Act, the new rules will mask calls to domestic violence hotlines and shelters from cell phone bills, make it easier for victims to separate from their family plans, and provide new low-cost phones for men and women who need to escape a dangerous situation.
If you are living through really unthinkable circumstances and suffering quietly with domestic abuse, it is hard to pick up that phone and call someone. And it's doubly hard if you know that there's going to be a record of it that your abuser will see.
Jessica Rosenworcel, the first woman to ever lead the FCC, has been shaping the new regulations with input from advocates, including those of the National Domestic Violence Hotline.
Are you safe to talk right now?
Which makes 90,000 contacts each month, more than 1 million each year. And most of those victims reach out via cell phone.
I think about when I worked in a local shelter and a woman coming in with her kids. I'm gonna start crying. Wait to be real.
My aura is not a good one.
A woman coming into the shelter with her children, and the cell phone being the vehicle that she would use to look for a job, to call the local clinic, to be able to communicate with her kids' school. We have to be able to have the ability for her to do that safely and privately to protect not only her life, but her children's life.
According to the hotline, 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men will experience physical violence in their lifetime. Rosenworcel wants to try to improve those numbers.
When I took over the Federal Communications Commission, this is not the things that I thought I would be doing with my day to day, but it's been among the most gratifying work we're doing.
And Joanne, now years removed from her bad situation, is glad other victims will have one more tool to build their exit plans.
Being able to get your own plan kind of make you feel somehow, I know it might sound weird, but self-sufficient as a person.
An important topic. Noah Pransky, thank you. Well, we're just days away from the start of the TSA is saying is going to be a record-breaking Thanksgiving travel rush. But if there's a government shutdown, you guessed it, that could throw a major wrench into those plans. Here's NBC's Tom Costello with more.
4 days till a potential collision between a government shutdown and the Thanksgiving travel crush. The TSA predicts a record 30 million through airport checkpoints over a 12-day stretch starting Friday. A shutdown would mean air traffic controllers and TSA officers would work without pay until the shutdown ends. In 2019, that was 35 days. The TSA chief today with a warning.
It's hard to put gas in your car. It's hard to pay for parking, hard to pay for childcare. So the longer a shutdown goes, the bigger the impact is on us.
The national shortage of some 2,500 air traffic controllers contributed to massive delays this past summer, especially at Newark, where United's own staffing meltdown lasted for days. Now the entire system is facing a stress test. Southwest says it's revamped its computer system after it crashed last Christmas, canceling 16,000 flights. And United's new boarding procedures are now in place. For economy passengers, window seats first, then middle, then aisle customers. The goal, save 2 minutes on boarding to get out on time. United is rolling this out just in time for the winter travel season, when storms can cause delays to snowball. The big picture, AAA forecasts 55 million Americans will travel 50 miles or more over 5 days, 49 million of us driving. The good news, gas prices now average $3.36 nationwide, down 41 cents from a year ago. Expect company the Wednesday before and Sunday after Thanksgiving will be the busiest. Tom Costello, NBC News, Chicago.
Up next, some of the biggest stories trending around the world. After a series of earthquakes in Iceland, a possible volcanic eruption has a whole lot of people on edge. That's just ahead, so stay tuned. Hey, welcome back. Let's take a quick look around the world. A surprise comeback in the UK. Former Prime Minister David Cameron has returned, this time as the country's foreign secretary. Cameron was the former prime minister from 2010 to 2016 and is back after a cabinet overhaul by current PM Rishi Sunak. Cameron replaces Suella Braverman, who was fired after she referred to pro-Palestinian protesters as, quote, hate marchers. In India, at least 40 workers will spend another night trapped inside a collapsed highway tunnel. That collapse happened yesterday because of a landslide at a construction site in northern India. Officials say that all the workers have been given water and oxygen. More than 150 rescuers have been working now around the clock to try to get them out. And in Somalia, flooding has killed at least 31 people and has displaced nearly 500,000 more since last month. The floods were caused by heavy torrential rain. The UN is calling it a flood event that only occurs once in 100 years. Well, tonight, a glimmer of hope for some children from Gaza cut off from chemotherapy by the war. The White House, Palestinian cancer advocates, and St. Jude's Hospital stepped in to get those kids the treatment they so desperately need. NBC's Andrea Mitchell reports.
Victory at last for 10-year-old Juri Zakut, one of 21 Palestinian children with cancer. Safe in an Egyptian hospital, flashing a sign of victory. The children with parents or guardians at the center of a secret international mission since the war began to rescue them from Gaza. Their joy tempered by reality. She says, I would lie if I said I was optimistic and my family is still in Gaza. I am afraid for them and our house has been hit. Tahani came to Egypt with 4-year-old Omar, leaving behind their family for the chance to save his life. She says, I had the feeling of any mother who was afraid for her son. I was afraid that his treatment would stop. It's been a treacherous journey, especially after Israel warned the hospital and then attacked. The evacuation initiated by cancer advocates at the Palestine Children's Rescue Fund and St. Jude's Hospital, with help from Egypt, Jordan, and the U.S.
The president was closely involved in helping children get out of Ukraine that needed cancer treatment. Immediately upon hearing about this request, the president directed us to do whatever we could to help these civilians who are in very acute situations get out of Gaza.
2-year-old Afaf and her father left her mom and siblings behind. Sadness mixed with relief.
They start to smile for the first time and they start to feel secure. It's very relieving, and we hope that we can do that for all the needed children in Gaza.
With the children's hospital in Gaza now closed, 31 children remain trapped in the war zone. Some approved to get out, but displaced from their homes and hard to locate.
A harrowing situation. Andrea Mitchell, thank you. All right, now over to Iceland, where intense volcanic activity continues with more than 700 earthquakes in the last 24 hours alone. Thousands of earthquakes rocked Iceland's southwestern coast over the weekend, with the country bracing for a possible volcanic eruption. NBC's Kelly Kobayea has more.
Warning signs of a volcanic eruption. Thousands of earthquakes in an Icelandic fishing village. Massive cracks opening on the streets and in homes. A mile-long pool of lava below the town, threatening to erupt. Local resident Gisli Gunnarsson and his girlfriend caught one of the strongest quakes on camera.
This is a very big lava pocket, and it goes straight under the town, so the town could just sort of disappear.
Closing down the nearby Blue Lagoon, one of the country's most popular tourist destinations, and raising the aviation alert to orange. In 2010, an enormous ash cloud from the eruption of an ice-capped volcano grounded flights across Europe for weeks. The region, dormant for 800 years, came back to life in 2021. Magma bursting to the surface again last year and this summer.
What kind of an impact will that have, even a smaller eruption?
We are looking at people losing their homes and particularly other critical infrastructure. There's a power plant. There's the Blue Lagoon. At the moment, the magma is so close to the surface that it could come up in a matter of potentially minutes. So it could happen in the next hours. It could happen in the next few days. We just don't know.
The people from this fishing village watching and hoping their town survives. Kelly Kobayea, NBC News.
All right, before we go, it's time for the future of everything. And for a lot of people in Michigan, the future is beefalo. I did not mispronounce that. That's what it's called. We'll tell you about the unique breed and its surprising health benefits for meat eaters. Stay tuned.
country in war looks like. You came to get blood. The sound of incoming shells. So many stories of heroism and heartbreak emerging from here.
News lives in the now.
Look at this. You can't even see anything anymore.
Let's break down what we know.
You gotta see this.
News for the generation of now is NBC News Now.
Tonight, for the future of everything, we've got beefalo. It's a cross between cattle and bison that might have some surprising health benefits as well. Heather Bricka from NBC Traverse City has more from northern Michigan.
Thad Jackson spends his time on the beefalo farm full-time after previously being a physician earlier in life. The Jackson family started the farm in 2001.
Ever since I was a kid growing up, I've always been fascinated with cattle, love cattle, everything about cattle, and also developed a fascination for the American bison and very much a respect for its strength and power. And I thought, gosh, what a great thing to combine those two animals together.
From then on, Jackson made it a goal to start his own farm to raise beefalo, which is a bison and cattle.
Our oldest here is Evening Star, and Evening Star is technically a bison hybrid because she is 5/8 bison, so she has 62.5% bison genetics. Yeah, once you get one apple, you're going to be right with me.
Evening Star is 27 years old, which is old for a beefalo.
So have longevity, which they inherit from the bison as well. Bison will tend to live to be 20 to 30 years of age. Beef cattle generally will live to be 12 to 15 years of age, and beefalo are kind of in between that.
Because Jackson and his wife are both doctors, they were drawn to the animal because of its health benefits.
The thing that draws me to beefalo is their, number one, the quality of the meat. It is delicious. It's very lean, high in protein, high in iron. It is low in fat, low in cholesterol.
In 1 pound of meat, there are 649 calories in beefalo meat, which breaks down to 32% fat, 0% carbs, and 68% protein. 85% lean and 15% fat ground beef has 975 calories, which breaks down to 65% fat, 0% carbs, and 36% protein.
We provide a very good quality pasture. We do rotational grazing, which helps improve our soil and our water holding capacity. We also provide our cattle with apple cider vinegar in their water, which helps build their rumen health. It helps them digest forage better.
The 100% grass-fed meat is available to purchase locally online or directly at the farm.
Wow, beefalo, who knew? Heather Bricka, thanks so much for that report. And that's going to do it for us tonight. I'm Stephen Romo. We'll see you tomorrow, but until then, stay tuned now.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.